Um, so I started to recognize strange things starting to happen in my life. Maybe about like 3 years ago. That's when a lot of strange things started happening to me. I had a very comfortable life. I was a really happy guy. Um, not much was happening. I started a YouTube channel where I did tarot card readings, and I mildly shared about my abusive childhood on that channel. And I come from a family that doesn't like to talk about that. And they watch me very, very closely on social media. When I was very little, my grandmother molested me. And when I was maybe like 23, or no, let's see, 29 now, so what was I, 26, 25, around 25, I was living with my grandparents. I was taking care of them. And this was something that I had repressed throughout my life until then.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about it. I didn't talk about it. I never told anyone what she did. And I just loved her because that's what people expected me to do. I helped her with the groceries. I helped her with things around the house for years. I lived with her for a few years.
Around like the 23, 24, 25.
Yeah, from 21 until 25, like around their 20s, my early 20s, so I lived with them.
And was the abuse a one-time thing, or was that something else?
It was a reoccurring abuse. My grandfather, he did not touch me, but it was my grandmother that did. We lived with her son and daughter, who are my aunt and uncle.
Mm-hmm.
They moved out when they became adults and had families, so it was just me and them in that house. But around the time I had this, I don't know why, I was really depressed. I had a lot of anger issues, and when I turned 25, I got my first boyfriend, and he would come over to the house, and it was a little awkward, but it was not talked about much. And a little bit before we broke up 3 years ago, I kind of had like this breakdown, like this realization, like I was molested, and I don't want to be here. I'm not comfortable here.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my YouTube channel where I was already talking about my childhood abuse, and I think it just opened up more doors the more I talked about it.
Mm-hmm. Like memory doors?
Memories. Okay. Yeah, like my mother has tried to smother me with a pillow when I was in the first grade. She tried to kill me until my teeth cut into my bottom lip and caused it to bleed. She also punched me in the side of the face and left a little scar here where my glass is broken and embedded into my face. And I wasn't specific like this on my channel, but I just said I came from a very abusive childhood, physically abusive, and all my family was watching it without me knowing, so it was a little bit, but no one said anything. And then, I don't know, I just started to break down, get really paranoid, and my grandmother would have lots of friends over, and they would go into our bathroom, and they would party a lot too. For old people, they would still drink and party a lot. She's had parties there since the 70s with all of these people. They would always, since I was a kid, so I was around a lot of strange adults as a child, unattended. So they were still coming over when I was watching her house, living there with her. And I had my shampoo bottles out, just normal in my bathroom, but that bathroom was like the public bathroom. It was at least 30 people a day going in and out because she taught music. And what made me break down, because my door didn't have a lock on it. And I would leave. I was so comfortable. You know, it's your grandma's house. You know, nothing's going to happen to your things. I would go to work, come back, and I started to notice, like, my shampoo was burning my scalp. And my hair fell out, and there's no genetic hair loss in my family. Everybody has a full head of hair. I had a full head of hair, and it actually, like, receded my hairline. The more I used that shampoo, it was burning me. I didn't realize it. I didn't know. And then when I stopped using it and it also, I used it to wash my face, and it would just grease up in a way. It was Dr. Bronner's magic soap. It was really good soap. It clears the oils from your skin, and it would just start clogging every time I would use it, and grease, it felt like an oil was in it. And so I didn't realize for the longest time it might have been the soap, so I would throw it out and get a new one, and it was fine. It didn't burn me. And I would wash my face, and I would leave it out in the shower, and then again it would happen again. This burning sensation and this grease, and I was like, is someone putting something in my soap? That's really weird. And I tried to tell my family, my parents, and my parents were like, yeah, you know, she has really weird people over, and they do things. Sometimes they could touch your stuff, so I would just suggest you don't leave it out. So I was like, okay. Then I started to go into my room, and my tablets, I had these vitamins, and I would look in, and they all clumped together one day. And I looked at them closer, and it looked like someone dropped some sort of water in there. And it was
kind of like when you're ready to lay it wet, they kind of like get sticky.
Yeah. And I never put water in it. Like, it was enough to just kind of like solidify them together. And when I took them, they made me sick. And they never made me sick before. And then when I would use my lotion, a similar situation. It has never burned me ever until this year. All of a sudden I'm allergic to it. It's just giving me eczema and rashes. And then I would throw it away and get a new one, and it was fine. And I noticed this pattern, and I just started to kind of get a little paranoid, like just start kind of looking at that room. And I had water bottles left out, and this is when I actually snapped, and I realized that maybe she could have been doing something to my things. Is that every time I would drink this water, any opened water I left out, I would get immediately like really nauseous and dizzy, really dizzy, and go to sleep. And I had a really bad headache every time, and water never did this to me. And it only happened every time I left out an open water bottle and came back home. And then I broke up with my boyfriend, and that's...
So this was kind of happening consecutively with you being in a relationship during this time period?
With a guy.
Okay.
That relationship was also weird. I'm sorry to cross-section it. I don't know if it'll make sense this way, but a side note, that relationship was really strange. And during that relationship, when I tried to drive to his house, my car got shot up. I was driving, and then boom, this side just completely collapsed. I thought I ran over something. I pulled over, I looked at it, and there were little holes in the tires. Little, perfect round little holes, like bullet-sized holes. I called my dad. My dad said, no, don't call the insurance. And I'm like, why? Don't call the police. I'm like, why? And he was so weirdly nonchalant about it, like not even caring that my car just got shot up. Because he's usually the first person I would call every time I got in an accident, because I trusted him. And mind you, I never had a good relationship with my parents. I was just trying to repair it at this time, trying to make things work. There were times where I ran away a lot, and I tried to come back, and they just wouldn't understand me. How the trauma of them beating me consistently and treating me a certain way has affected me. And they just wouldn't, they would just deny it, and I would just run off. But this time around, I was working for him. So he said, no, I'm just gonna call a tow truck, don't report to the police. And I'm like, okay. The tow truck driver comes, he saw my tires, and he's like, yeah, like, that's not a flat tire. Those are someone trying to shoot you. Are you sure you don't want to call the police? And I was like, no, my dad said not to. And so they towed the car away. And I was standing at this abandoned gas station. Not abandoned, sorry, it was empty. An empty gas station. And I called for my now ex to come pick me up. He lived 10 minutes away. He took over an hour to show up. And the strange thing I noticed is that when he came to pull up to get me, he almost drove away. He turned the car around and started to drive away. And I was like, hey, what are you doing? And then he slowly turned back around, and then I got in and I said, what the fuck was that? I'm scared. Someone just tried to shoot my car, and you literally almost left me there. And he was like, I don't know, I was scared, and I just knew something was weird and wrong and off. And he already didn't seem to like me much. He didn't love me, and he was cheating on me. So I've had a lot of arguments with him about weird things. I've argued with my ex about that situation where, why did you leave me there? Tell me what's wrong. I cried. I actually cried in front of him. I said, please tell me, what was that? Why did you leave me behind? Is there something going on? He said no, but he didn't say anything. He didn't even say no. He just kept his mouth shut. I don't know why I stayed with him after that, but I did. Another time, I was having a conversation with him, and he said, yeah, sometimes I send my nudes to my female cousins. And he tried to gaslight me and say, it's normal, we're family, and they send me their nudes. And I was like, it was like a weird case of like arguing with someone and they just like gaslighting you. Like, well, no, it's normal. And I'm just like, the words sound insane going into my head. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, no, that's not okay. I don't send my nudes to my cousins. And I was suspecting something. Like, he was calling his cousins so much, going out with them so much, and sending them pictures of his naked body. And I don't know why I stayed with them. I think it was just because
comfort, sometimes ease. The devil like you know is better than the devil you don't, kind of thing.
Right. Maybe I just wanted to avoid thinking about it further. And also, I was under the impression that I was difficult to deal with, and I was just overreacting. I even thought I had borderline at the time, just because of how people were diagnosing me, because of how I reacted to what they were saying. And so, and coming from a family that I was gaslit a lot for being a human, I accepted it. And it was a weird relationship. But moving back to my grandma's house. So after all of these strange things were happening to my body because of products that I was using, I was like, she molested me. And I don't know if this is connected, but I don't feel safe. And I was freaking out. I didn't know who to tell. So I even tried to call the police. I even showed them the tablets. I was like, they're like, we have no way to test water. We don't have any way. We can't take this in. They just didn't believe me. It's like, okay. So I went online. And there's like a weird timeline with every time I post about them online, something happens. And so I posted about it. I said my grandmother molested me, and there's a lot of strange things happening at her house to me. Like to my scalp, to my skin. And I don't feel safe. And around that time I told my ex-boyfriend the truth that she molested me, the woman that we're living with right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he started to tear up. And then a few weeks later, he randomly just wanted to break up with me. And he called the police on me because I wanted to kill myself. And that was crazy because I was just going through so much. I didn't understand what was going on. It just felt like things were happening and I just was left out of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
So after this happened, I told my dad, I refuse to stay in that house again. I don't feel safe at all. I don't feel safe leaving my soap out, my water out. Something's going on. And he just wouldn't believe me. Or he blamed it on her friend.
Mm-hmm.
He said, she's a weird woman. And I was like, okay, but you're fine here at my shop. So I stayed at his shop 3 years ago. 3 years ago I moved in.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt comfortable at first. And then it started to happen again. My soap wasn't cleaning my face anymore. It was greasy. It was like getting it was like greasy. I would throw it away, buy a new one, completely fine, leave it out. Greasy again. Then one time, my bottle was near empty at the bottom. I left it out. I came back, it was full, filled to the brim. And I looked at my dad and I said, what the fuck is this? This bottle was empty. How is it full? Are you doing something to me? He's like, no, I'm not. Don't, it's bad to lie. I'm not lying. And it's greasy again. And it smells like motor oil or something like industrial. It doesn't smell like my soap. And he was like, no, I would never do that. And I got so paranoid. And I just I kept throwing them away and buying a new one and throwing them away to the point where I started putting them in my backpack and taking them with me and they were fine. I started locking them up and they were fine, but every time I left it out, it would always either burn me or give me severe breakouts.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through 20 bottles at this point.
Which is great.
Yeah, thank you. So
you're starting to not feel safe at the shop. So.
Yeah, that's when I started to not feel safe. And I just kept working for him.
Mm-hmm.
I was working for him while this was happening to my soap and just looking over my shoulder, watching where he's walking and just holding on to my things every time he would come in the shop until I just couldn't take it anymore. I just couldn't trust him.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I showed him my hairline and I said this happened to my scalp, he laughed. And I thought that was a really weird reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So I quit that job, but I still lived in there. And I said, I'm never talking to you again. I don't know. I just ignored him. I said, I'm going to quit.
Mm-hmm.
But I still lived in there. I just put a lock on the door. I installed a lock.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a job at Ace Hardware in Woodside Plaza. And I worked there for almost a year. I did really good. I started to be not at the shop anymore. And the only thing that really came up while I was barely there, I was working full time.
Mm-hmm.
I would leave in the morning and not come home till in the evening because I was a closing shift.
Mm-hmm.
And the only strange thing that he ever came up with is he tried to blame his power bill on me. It was $800 and I was like, I'm not even home. I'm not even here to turn on the lights.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I thought that was really strange. And he's like, no, you turn on the lights. I'm like, that I can't even put out that much power turning on the lights.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of power for $800, I'm at Ace Hardware all day, 5 days a week. But I just ignored it. threw away the note and just kept going to work, staying there. And you know, the thing about, I started to lock my soaps up at the Ace Hardware lockers so nobody touched it. I take medication where I inject my leg with it. It's testosterone. And I noticed that the levels of my medication were also weirdly off from the last time I pulled from them. And I noticed the injection holes on top were really big, a bigger gauge than I used every time. Thought that was strange, so I started locking my medication up too, because I felt like they were doing something to that too, because I would inject it and it would puff up my leg, and wouldn't do that before, and the medicine wasn't doing what it's supposed to do to my levels. It ended up messing up my hormones really bad, and I never strayed off of my medication schedule. So I started to get paranoid and lock it up at Ace, and then this situation started to calm down. And then about a few months into my job at Ace Hardware, at the building, I started to hear people having sex under the building. And I never knew anyone even could be down there. I didn't even think the building had a basement. And it was loud. It was like, and I never have had audio hallucinations in my life. Didn't even know what that was at the time. I've never dealt with any sort of weird thing like that. I just knew that I was dealing with real life physical symptoms from things I left out. So I was like, okay, that must be the neighbor, because at first it came from next door. The sounds were coming from next door, this house that was across the alleyway from our building, just nonstop, like moaning, and it was violating. It felt violating because it was like, I want to be private. I want to listen to my music, and it was gross. It was weird. And it was just one couple. And they just kept going and go nonstop every day as if they didn't have a job. Then they started to say, gay, gay, gay. I've never had any sort of problem with anyone to do with my sexuality, even if people were to insult me. At that point, I didn't care. I'm so sure about my identity. I was not usually affected. And I just thought it was strange. This couple just kept saying, gay, gay. Every time I looked in the mirror, gay. Before they didn't do that. It was just, And now it's having sex, gay. And then having sex and gay. Having sex, gay. I was like, what are these people on? This is really weird. Every time I would make a noise, lift a chair, I did kickboxing. I trained in Muay Thai in that shop. So every time I kicked, gay. Every time I punched something, gay, gay, gay. It was like these people were just, do you ever take a break? Do you ever go to sleep?
At the shop with your dad's? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, at my dad's shop.
And then at the Ace Hardware as well?
No, it wasn't at the Ace Hardware.
Oh, because
just at the shop.
Okay.
Only at the shop at this point. Just one couple having sex, saying gay. And this happened for a whole year. Every single day, and I knew that because that was the one year I didn't get any sleep at all, because it was so loud.
You were saying not getting any sleep at all. Were there like actual days and nights where you weren't getting any sleep, or was it just like a fitful sleep where you would like lay down and you'd kind of toss and turn because of the sounds?
Some fitful, but most of them none. Just me freaking out and being like, shut up. Just all night, like, please stop. I begged them. I was like, please stop. And they're just gay. Gay.
Did you ever record this happening?
No. I didn't. I don't know why. Because I just thought it was such a small situation at the time.
To be fair, it also feels like it's violating for you. It feels like, but also
it's
recording.
Weird to
it's
record
also,
other
yes,
people, right?
Definitely.
It's like your downstairs neighbor in an apartment. Why would you record them?
Yeah,
It's weird.
It's valid. It's valid.
I just assumed, at the time, I'm not like a jealous person or anything. I'm not a nosy person. I like to mind my business. So I was like, at first I was like happy for them. I was like, good for you, go ahead, because I've been in a relationship before. I know what it's like. But it was just excessive. And I was trying to mind my business. At first I was ignoring it, and it just got to a point where it was like disturbing, because it was every day. Yeah, I was losing sleep, and I worked a full shift at Ace Hardware every day after that. After going home to that, it was like I lost my peace. And then it just started to get worse. Like, I started to hear another couple, and it was like almost as if their voices were moving closer to where my bedroom area was. At first it was in the office, it was in the garage, and it just seemed to like they had moved in another couple down there under my bed, to the point where it was shaking my bed. And it was loud, and I was going insane at this point. Just multiple voices, gay, different voices, like different people I've never heard before. I don't recognize it. And so I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna keep going to work. It was like nonstop, and then it just started to get to my car. Like, things started to happen in my car about a few months in. I started to go out to my car. I parked it on the street in the alleyway, and I noticed the tires would be flat, like deflated flat, every time I went out. And I had to go to work, so I would have to pump them up real quick just to get to work, because they were that low. It was like noticeably low, and I was like, someone is messing with me. And there were times where the seat was wet, and it stunk in there.
Inside the car?
Yeah, and it was moist. I'd be like, what? And I didn't really think about it. And then one day when I went to work at Ace Hardware and I parked my car right outside, I went back in after my shift was over, and I found someone's semen all over the steering wheel, all over the turn thing where the driver's seat is. And at first I didn't know it was semen. I was just like, what is this? Is this sauce? I don't make that. I'm trans. It's not me. I don't know anybody. I'm like, what is going on? And I didn't take a picture that time because I was like, I didn't know. I kept working, kept hearing the weird, I don't know, sex party going on under my house, just whatever. I just need to get to work. I was just so focused on saving up to move away that I was just like, whatever, like, I'm gonna keep going. And then one day when I was, another time when I, parked it where it usually was at work, I would even go sit in my car at lunch, and it was fine. When I got off my shift, that's when I realized it was semen. It was the same weird moisture in there, and it was just across the windshield. And I took a picture of it, and then I was like, what is... I was so humiliated, I didn't want to tell the police. I was just... Someone's doing something to my car, and it's correlating with the noises I've been hearing under the building. And I was just so stressed at this point. I felt so violated and disgusted, and just, I felt like nothing was private in my life. I just felt like nothing was untouched. Like they just touched me in that, all these ways without touching me. It was really gross. I just felt assaulted, honestly, by it. Like,
it feels very invasive. I mean,
it's disgusting. I don't know whose that is, and it's like nasty. And I've never made a mess like that in my car before. And so that's when I freaked out. That's when I really broke down a little bit in my mind. Like, not break down in my mind, but I was like really angry, like really like, first of all, my house is just constantly, whatever this is going on, having sex and stuff, and then this is happening in my car. And so a few months more go by, it just continues. I'm super paranoid.
Not getting any sleep either.
Not getting any sleep. Just doing my best to rest. And this happened, but it just, the noises got to be so much where it felt like 10 couples were living underneath my building. Like a lot of people. And I've never heard voices before this 3 years started.
It just seems like it's gotten more and more intense. Is this
Yeah.
what you're still experiencing and kind of what's led to you coming here more recently as well? Kind of hearing...
No, this was before that. It got worse. Okay. So this was before I met you guys. This was about 1 year, maybe the year before I met you guys.
Okay.
I'm sorry if this is a long story.
No, you're good.
Thank you for being here.
You provide as many details that you feel are necessary.
So I did talk to the police, and I didn't tell them the nasty stuff. I just said, I keep hearing my neighbor call me gay, like non-stop. And I think they're messing with my car. And the police said, well, there's not really much we can do. It just sounds like pranks. Like, they're not doing any financial damage, so we can't charge them. And people have a freedom of speech, so they can say whatever they want. Even if it's hateful, I guess. Yeah, I'm not threatening you.
It's a little bit of a gray area, but
yeah. And it just kept going and going until, and at this point I only heard them in that building. Every time I went anywhere else, peace. I just felt happy. Working at Ace Hardware was the happiest I had been in a long time, because I didn't hear them there. I felt like a person. I felt like I wasn't being bullied non-stop. I felt safe. I had my things in the locker. People were cool with me. They loved my hard work. They appreciated it. Customers liked me. And then I started to like notice people that I've seen on the sidewalk in front of our shop, that because people walk by it, it's on the main street, it's on El Camino Real, so I would see people walk by all the time because I work in the front. I started to recognize some people from there walking into Ace Hardware, and they would just walk in. It was a young couple, they're both white. They looked almost like teenagers. They walk in, they looked at me, and they walked right out. I thought it was really weird. I didn't think anything of it. And this would happen with like some random people that I swear I saw that person. And it's really far away from where I worked before. It's kind of a bus ride away. So I was like, okay, that's a little strange, but it's Redwood City, it's only Ace Hardware, whatever. Kids probably want to go into Ace Hardware.
It's a common store.
Yeah, even though it's a little bit out of the way and they didn't buy anything ever. And then I started to hear the noise again. But it wasn't sex. It was just it sounded like some kid going, gay. And it was coming from the Orange Theory gym right next to Ace Hardware. I would hear a door swing open on the side of Orange Theory. I don't know what that is, their yard or their break room.
Orange Theory, they're like it's like the gym, right?
Yeah, it's like
those
a
little
class gym or something, some workout thing. Right next door, they share a wall with Ace Hardware. And I worked in the garden section, so I would be outside all the time. And I was outside by myself, picking up big bags of fertilizer, and I was just, hi, how are you doing? Acting like, also when I was at this job, I was acting completely like I wasn't cussing the hell out of these people at home. I was like, at home, shut up. And I would go to work, and I'd just be like, hi, how are you doing?
Just kind of like all normal and
professional.
Yeah.
And I started to hear them, gay. Every time I talked to a coworker, gay. It was the same voices. It was same two people from this group of people at home that I heard. At the side of Orange Theory, gay. And I started to get angry at work. And I started to talk to them back. And did not look good, because I think people in management saw me on the camera and I got scared.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got fired. And I had to go back to the shop.
How did they report that, or how did that get brought up?
They never brought it up. They didn't give me a reason why they fired me.
Mm-hmm. So they just brought you into the office one day?
Yeah, they just said, we don't think you're a good fit.
Mm.
And I was like, okay.
They didn't provide any explanation?
No. They didn't even let me get unemployment.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they never told me why.
And so you had to go back to the shop, now more full time in that capacity. You're there more often, so
Yeah.
not the day's job. So what kind of went on from there?
The noises just kept going on for a few months after that. This is around the time I started to see you guys. What made me come in... So, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a lot more that happened. I'm just trying to... I'm sorry. There's so many details, and that's why I have to record it. So, after I got fired from Ace Hardware, I had to go back. Didn't have any money. I kind of like... The noises were still going on, too.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was just so stressed, and they would yell, gay, gay, gay. Even when my dad was around, he would say gay. I even heard him say, shut up. Like he whispered, shut up at them. I was like, so he can hear them. Gay, gay, gay. He would even like slam things, and then like, gay. Like as if it was annoying him, but he was just acting like he didn't hear him.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't bring it up to him because I didn't want to seem crazy, because I didn't know if anyone else was hearing it. But I knew I was hearing it. It was so real. It is real. Slowly, I started to kind of try to ease my way back into communication with him while living there.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you can work here again. I was desperate because I didn't have any money.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to work for him again. And the noises continued, and I brought it up to him.
Even while you were working at this point?
Yeah.
While you're working?
While
Okay.
I'm working there, while the shop is open. It was all day.
Mm-hmm.
Them yelling gay and them having sex was all day. And it was starting to... It got to a point where whenever I sat in a chair, it felt like it was vibrating.
Mm-hmm.
Like a machine was like buzzing it. And I never had tactile hallucinations ever in my life. Like I think the most psychedelic thing I've ever taken was like shrooms, and it was really small, like years ago. And even then, I never felt some sort of hallucination. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that was real. But you can feel things, but
Unfortunately, they come in they're like candy. They come in all flavors and shapes and sizes and all that, unfortunately.
absolutely,
Hallucinations
I didn't learn that until I came here. But my seat was vibrating. My bed was vibrating. I put a glass of water on it. It's shaking. I was like, this is really weird. I don't know why these people are doing this. And I asked him. At first, it felt like the noises were following me. Like every time I would walk around, it felt like I would hear them kind of scuttle, and then just, gay right under my feet. And I thought they were on the roof. Because I was like, how is this noise following me? So I even told my dad, can you help me climb onto the roof and see if we have like homeless people maybe up there, you know, tenting it up there, and I didn't see anything. And the building also started to smell like dogs, and we never had a dog. And I realized it was coming from underneath, because I heard a dog bark down there. I was like, what? From that smell in the past, it literally made me think someone was going into my room because of my trauma. So
it kind of brought that back up again for you.
Yeah, and I was like, but then when I heard the dog down there, I was like, oh, so is this like a basement? It's connected? They're underneath? I said, don't you hear that, Dad? And he's like, no, gay, gay. even though I've seen him like whisper to himself, "Shut up," like at them. And I was like, okay, like slowly just kind of losing it. Like, this is affecting every aspect of my life. Every waking moment of my life has been the sound of these people calling me gay and having sex. Non-stop, non-stop, non-stop. As if they're taking shifts. And I was like, what's going on down there? Is it prostitution? Is there something going on? And they're not telling me. And then I started to hear in the car. And I was like, in the speaker. Gay. Really? And they would say, really? I'm like, who says that? See? Really? Gay. Like, as if they're judging me. And I was like, shut up. And I was like, okay, that's weird. And then one day, I was walking with my dad outside, and I saw this woman walk by, and she had black hair, and a very prominent nose, like a very prominent face, and eyebrows that are very unique, like you don't see.
It's very noticeable.
Very noticeable, basically. And she's walking by with some guy, and they look at me, and she points at me and says, see? And I was like, oh my God, that's that voice I've been hearing. That's that voice that said, see? Really? Gay. That's the voice. That's the voice. And I recognized her face because of 5 years before that, we had video footage of this same woman, smashing my dad's truck mirror with her purse. And I remember my mother screenshotted it and said, do you know this woman? And I was like, no. And it was her. It was literally the same exact person with the same nose and hair and everything.
Did your dad recognize them whenever they passed by?
No. It was as if they're like, no, I don't remember that. And I was like, are you sure? Because you almost reported it to the police. Like, Mom literally recorded it, saved it. She wanted to even post it on Nextdoor. And then when I asked them for a photo of it again, she said, sorry, I lost it. And I was like, okay, you lost the screenshot of this same woman who I think is harassing me under there, smashing our mirror. It's that person. I thought that was really weird. And I was like, okay, whatever, as I usually do. I'm just gonna, whatever, just keep working. And then it just got worse, progressively worse. It was like everything was shaking. Everywhere I go was shaking. And there started to be this liquid that I would feel in the air, like this mist. And it smelled like sewage. It smelled like pee. And I would taste it on my lips. It was salty. It would stick to, when things land on your lip, you can feel it.
Yeah.
When someone spits, it lands on your lip. And I'm just, every time I was in that building, it felt like it would damn near pour on me. And I would put my hood on, and it would just, and I was like, there's something going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I don't know when I realized something. I don't know what it was, but I had the weird inkling, like, about who it might have been. And I thought it was the neighbors for the longest time. I didn't know. I got to a weird point where it was just pouring and pouring and pouring down on me, and I was going crazy. I was like under a bag all day, to the point where I had to cover my food, and it just made the whole place stink. Then I started to feel these fumes, like I would it didn't smell like anything, but it would make my heart race. There was something, this smoke that was coming up now, and it would go into my lungs and it would immediately burn my chest and my stomach, and it would make my heart beat really fast. It would make me feel really overstimulated. And I was like, what is this? I've never done hard drugs before. I don't know what that was. I thought it was a gas leak. I don't know. It started to make me sick.
And again, at the shop stuff.
At the shop. All at the shop.
Okay.
All in that building. Would sleep. I would lay down, and then they would just wake me up with this, like, this burning feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, something's going wrong. Something is really, really wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this didn't happen before. Before it was just noise. Before it was just shaking.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's some sort of fumes coming up, and they're making me sick. Like, sorry?
Like a bit of a progression.
A progression, yes. It made me sick.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what it was, and I was assuming they were doing drugs or something. Maybe they were smoking something, and it was coming up and contacting me or burning me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, just, I can't be in this building anymore. I can't breathe. It got to the point where I couldn't breathe. I started sleeping with N95 masks and just curling up and just bracing for the night, while they just vibrate, shake. And it was just raining down on me. I didn't know what was going on. My phone was starting to go from 75% to 1% and shutting down on its own immediately. And it was really weird. Just all of a sudden, just shut down. I never did anything to the battery. It was fine yesterday, and now it just kept draining over and over again. I was like, okay. And when it just started to keep raining on me, I was like, I think I can't trust my dad. I think something's going on. I think something illegal is going on down there, and I need to go. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's doing this to me. I freaked out. I got whatever cash I could find. I had more realizations. Because, I don't know, when I'm angry, I just think about it. I'm like, yeah. And I realized, like, when my grandmother died, they didn't give me the money. And this was around the time I was struggling and trying to, I was trying to tell, around the time when I was suspecting that he was putting something in my soap when it was full, that was when I started calling around. I started calling my aunts.
And when did your grandmother pass away?
She, not the grandmother who molested me.
Okay,
Sorry.
So it's a different.
Sorry,
I just want to make sure.
sorry.
Okay, yeah, you're good.
My other grandmother. So his mother. The one who molested me is his stepmother.
Okay.
But his actual mother died. And she had money for me, and they refused to give it to me. And I don't know why. They're treating me like a drug addict, like I was going to spend it all when I really needed it. I needed a place to stay where I felt safe, and I was trying to explain to my aunt, like, I think, like, they're doing something to my soap. And I don't feel safe. And they were like, oh no, like, I don't know if he would do that, but they were like, but also, like, they didn't want to, they had a tone, like, they didn't want to mess around with that. They didn't want to open it further. They're like, oh no, I don't want to be involved. And my great-grandpa died, and they also didn't give me an inheritance from him either. And he loved me. He wrote a recommendation letter for the Navy for me. He always asked about me.
It seems like there's a bit of disconnect in terms of what was passed on. Okay.
Yeah, and that was a little bit weird, but I was more focused on just what's going on.
Yeah,
and I realized these things, and I was angry. And then I was like, are they trying to do something to me because of this money? Why are they not helping me? Why is my aunt not helping me? Why don't they want to hear what's going on? and I went berserk. I grabbed as much cash as I can get. I tried to write myself a check to get away because I was like, I don't think they're gonna let me get away from here. They're not letting me have an option to be somewhere safe. He wouldn't even let me stay in his house, and he lets my sister live with him. I was like, I've had it. So I drove off to a hotel, the Marriott Courtyard in Los Altos. It's next to this building called the Toyota Research Center. It's like an office building for people that work at Toyota. I went in there, still not knowing who's doing this to me, and I heard the noises. I started to hear the sex noises again. I thought it was hotel. Yeah, I thought it was the people next to me, but it was their voice, the same exact voice, gay, like over and over again. I was like, this never happened until now in another building, other than Ace Hardware, with just the two people saying gay. Now it's just this whole group of people that I'm hearing at the hotel, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. So before I checked out of the hotel, I went to sit in my car. My phone, the data was turned off, so or it wasn't, the data was on, but it would just die. My phone just kept dying and dying and dying, 1%. Even when I plugged it in, it would still die. Every charger still died. And I was just like, okay, it died when I was sitting in my car, and that's when I saw my uncle Steven, who I hadn't seen in like 10 years. And he looked at me, and he looked really like sad.
And he's just walking across the...
Yeah, and he had a Toyota research thing, little badge, and he walked into the hotel to check out. And I looked at him and I said, what the fuck? And I stared at him the whole time, and he looked all like sulky, walking by. Then after that, I saw my other uncle, Nicholas Boris. He married into the family. Both of these people don't like me.
And you saw both of them at the hotel?
Yeah, and they don't talk.
They don't hang out. Do they work at the Toyota? Or?
I didn't know they did. If they did, I did not know at all. I had no idea any of those people even had any connection. They came out of the employee garage. I thought I was seeing people. I didn't think I was seeing people, but like, well, no, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I saw them, and I started to have realization. I was like, so this is you. So you're doing this. You're following me. I figured it out. Who else would it be? Why would these two separate people that don't even talk? I didn't even know they talk. This guy's from this family. This guy is totally from over here in this household. They never go to Thanksgiving. They're completely separate. Why are they here? And then I was like, so it's them. So they have something to do with this. They're following me around. That's what I was under the impression of. So I went online, and I said, I think I saw some people I saw. I know. And I from that point, I just kept driving. I kept driving to wherever I thought I would be safe. And I just drove. I drove all the way to Half Moon Bay. I drove all the way to here, San Francisco, everywhere. And I kept thinking I saw them on the street. I kept thinking that I saw people I knew, like right on time. Weird people that I've never seen, like that I haven't seen in years. I thought I saw people that were related to the Hassets of Ace Hardware there. I had redheads. Or somebody that looked related. Somebody's husband I didn't know very well. I saw them. And I panicked, I freaked out, kept driving and driving everywhere until I ran out of gas. Didn't have anywhere else to go. There was no Wi-Fi to use because the phone was completely off. It was on SOS mode or whatever. The reception was turned off. My family pays for that phone. They control it. So the data shut off on its own. The phone kept dying and kept going to 1%, even plugged in. There was points where it was completely blacked out. Wouldn't work for days unless and it would turn on by itself. Randomly, the Apple logo would pop up whenever it wanted to. And I freaked out. I didn't have any options. I ran out of money. So I went back to the shop, and I didn't feel safe in there because it was pee, or whatever that was splashing down on me. And now I know it's more than a leak. It's like, keeps going. So I slept in the car. And another thing I kept noticing is this smell, like this vomit smell. This vomit smell in the shop. And this vomit smell like near the car. And it started to make me freak out more. Like everything they touched had this grease. And it smelled like barf. Like garlicky barf. I would even smell it near the shop or anywhere. I don't know, like anywhere I saw them. And at this point I freaked out, as anyone would. I don't know, like I completely broke down. I slept in the car that night. I didn't have anything to eat. And I think the next day, and I had all my clothes with me, everything with me in that car. I even had my gun, because I just never wanted to, like I didn't know where else to go. And I just broke down in tears. I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know who can help me. I don't know how this is gonna stop. I feel like I'm being followed. I feel like the only building I have shelter in is raining something on me that stinks. I would always stink so bad. After I showered, after I washed my clothes, I would step in there and come out and smell just like disgusting because of this, whatever was leaking or spraying down on me. So I just sat in the car. I called the police and I said, I'm having a mental breakdown and I don't know what to do. So I called you. I called 911. And they took me to PES. I gave them my gun. I told them straightforward. They said, can we check the car? Can we search your car? I said, do anything you need to do. There's something spraying down on me in that building, and there's a lot of weird stuff going on. I don't know what my father's involved with. I don't feel safe. Can we search your car? Go ahead. I have a gun in there. I have rounds in there. Please take it, because I don't have a place to put it anyways. And I thought you should know. So they took it for safekeeping. They even called you guys at some point to give it back, and I refused to take it back because I'm not. I think I remember that actually. Yeah, I remember that. They even gave it back. They didn't find anything wrong with it or anything wrong with my car. Nothing suspicious. I just was having a mental breakdown over going through 2 years at this point of this weird abuse, I guess. And
so now you've essentially gotten to where you're being introduced to us.
Yeah.
And I know that you've been here on and off periodically over the last, year essentially.
Yeah.
I'm curious, has it been kind of like the same stuff continuously happening every time you go back?
Yeah. So I don't know, I want to also express something strange that happened that day that I want to remember is that they kept thinking my name was Peter. And that's my dad's name. You're Peter, right? You're Peter? You're Peter? No, I'm Gilbert. They didn't believe me. I was like, why? How can you not believe? This is really weird. Why are you confusing me for my dad? We look nothing alike. They said, oh, we thought that was Gilbert. What?
So you're getting you guys mixed up.
Yeah. So that was a detail I wanted to bring up because I thought that was really strange. I gave them my ID. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're Gilbert," and they were really confused. They looked really confused, and I didn't know what was going on. They blocked off Madison Avenue with. When I called them, a bunch of cop cars came. Like, way too many I thought way too many than I thought would come up. They cuffed me, and I saw people come outside and watch me from their house. I heard people laughing. I didn't know who it was. I tried my best to tell the paramedics there's something going on in that building. There's something being sprayed. The water isn't good. The water is really dark and dirty in that building. There's something wrong. I kept trying to tell the paramedic. They took me to PES, and I still didn't feel safe. Like, I didn't feel like I was out of the woods when I got to PES. That night, I tried to rest, and then I've heard this from other people who've been to PES. There's a vent in the room, one of the rooms, where you can hear everything they're saying in this other room, in the conference room.
Okay.
A lot of other patients there have told me you can hear them.
So you
can hear full conversations. But in this instance, I didn't even need that vent because these people were yelling. About 11 p.m. that night, I saw my dad come in, pass through where he's not supposed to say, "Hey, you're not supposed to go there," passing through, and then I heard my aunt's voice. I recognized it very clearly because that's a very different voice. My Aunt Carolyn. I always thought that we were cool. I helped her boyfriend learn how to do Muay Thai. Her ex-boyfriend, and he confided in me in like issues with their relationship, and I tried to be neutral. And they broke up and whatever. And that's all I knew about her. I didn't know she hated me. I didn't even know she was homophobic. She came in. She said, "Where's that little shit? Where's that little shit? Blah blah blah. You know that like
PES.
Yeah.
Past the log doors.
Or somewhere. I didn't know how it was set up at the time, so I don't know. But I overheard her yelling, and I was like, "Who is that? Is that Carolyn? Where's that little shit? Da da da." She sounded unstable as fuck. Like I've never heard someone that angry and unstable, like as if she was on drugs or something. And and then she was saying so many like messed up things about me to these people, and like kind of almost trying to make fun of me to them, like, "Oh, well, he's gay. Did you know that he's gay?" And I overheard the security guard be like, "My brother is gay. Like, it's not that, I don't know what your problem is." And she started to say all sorts of weird stuff, like she tried to hit on him, and they talked all night, like all the way to like 8 a.m. the next day. My father came in after her. The guy was like, "Are you trying to bribe me?" And he was like, "Oh, no, no, no." And he started to like retch, like try to fake throw up or something. And they're like, "We're going to call the police because you're trying to bribe me." They looked through her bag. They're like, "Is this spray paint? What is this?"
You're hearing all this conversation, not seeing it because it's on the way out of the room. Okay.
I just saw... it sounds crazy. That's what I'm saying. I swear I saw him walk through. Like I saw him in the window when I peeked out. "Where is Bert? I want to see Bert. We want to see Bert." And they're like, "We can't let you do that. This is like emergency. We don't allow visitors." And they're not on the release. I didn't even let anyone know I was there. "Where's Bert?"
Did you follow up with any like nurses the next day around that?
No, I didn't say anything because I overheard them kind of say rude things about my body. Like after I took a shower, the lady was like, "Oh, his thing is so small," and I was like, "That's really weird and gross." And I looked at her and I said, I don't appreciate that. I really, like, I heard that and I don't appreciate that. And she just gave me a look. And, it was really weird. I didn't bring anything up to the nurses.
Probably didn't quite feel comfortable doing so after that, I can imagine.
No. I didn't have anywhere else to go. I called one of my friends. Her name's Charisma from high school because she was like my only friend that was nice to me. And she sounded like she was laughing at me. She was like giggling, and I was like, she's like, yeah, I just want to make sure you're safe. Well, sorry, I don't have a place for you here, and I don't have a lot of money, but da-da-da. And I was like, it's okay, don't worry about it. And I started to realize she wasn't taking me seriously, and I just told her, when you find out the real truth, forgive yourself. I forgive you. I forgive you for whatever they told you and you believed. Don't call me.
So you feel
again.
like that your family had communicated with them?
Because when she was talking to me, it was echoing, as if someone else was listening to it. And I could actually hear her voice and my voice on speakerphone in the other room. They were laughing, or it sounded like they were like making fun of it. And I was just like, forget it. And that's when I came to Serenity House. When I came to Serenity House the first time, it was silent at first. And then the first night I got there, someone drove up with their car, blasting music through the speakers. And someone was yelling, hey, Gilbert, Gilbert, Gilbert. And at the time, I'm new to Serenity House. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know. I was so like to myself in my room. And I didn't know how the building was set up yet. You know, I just got here for the very first time. And I heard a woman be like, Gilbert, Gilbert, on the car speaker. Gilbert raped me. And it was really weird. I was like, what the hell? And I overheard other clients be like, who is that? Like, why is it so loud? And it was really weird.
Okay. I'm trying to think if we had any documents around that. I don't know if did you feel safe reporting to us about any of
No,
it?
because I just got here and I went through all that stuff and I didn't feel safe telling anyone. That's why I'm trying to like note it here so I can remember everything in time. And I just kept hearing them from outside on the hospital. It felt like it was coming from the hospital parking lot. Just gay.
Right over there?
Yeah, like over there. And I was like, I don't know what's going on.
So you've kind of, at this point, this is their beginning of being here. Now you're going, from my understanding, every time you would discharge from here, you would be going back to the shop, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what was kind of happening in that period?
The first time I discharged from here, I went to Safe Harbor. And I got really paranoid because they were just installing new shower heads. I got really paranoid because it was right when I got there, so I left. And the vibe was really, it felt unsafe. Like people were kind of sizing me up and talking about me. And I felt like they wanted to fight me or something. So I packed my things and I left. I took the bus. My phone didn't work. I forgot to mention, before I came to Serenity House, my iPhone at the time was already dead. I chucked it in the car because it was off and on, turning off and on by itself. So I bought a Motorola phone and it was only on Wi-Fi. So I used the Wi-Fi, whatever map I could find on the Wi-Fi, screenshotted it, and used it to walk all the way and find a bus and then a train to get back to Redwood City. And then I was like, I'm desperate. I don't want to sleep on the street tonight, so I'm gonna just put this jacket over my head, and I'm just gonna deal with it. Whatever happens in that shop is just piss. I'm gonna try to sleep through it. So I went in the shop, and then the sprays were continuing, and that's when I started to kind of come back in cycles, because it would continue the spray, but before I would come back, there were points, a lot of it was the same, going back and was spraying, and I was like, this is disgusting, I don't want to be here. Happened in a few cycles, and then when I'm sorry, this is so long. I tried to tough it out, and there were even times where I called the ambulance. There was, I'm trying again, so it's all squished together, so it's,
Seems like it kind of like
it was like a
very cyclic.
It was very
like.
cycle.
So it
Yeah.
seems like sometimes probably days blurring together a little bit, events blurring together.
There were weird events that happened that caused me to come back.
Are you still hearing whenever you were going back to the shop, not only was it like the sensory stuff, it was also like the auditory with like hearing the people still?
Yes.
That was still happening. Okay.
Absolutely. So I would, there was a time where I tried to drink water, and I was not talking to my dad at this time. And it started to make me sick again. And it was like the Kirkland brand bottles from Costco. And they were making me sick. Then I realized the bottles were a completely different shape from the Kirkland bottle. And I even had an old one. I dug around, I found an old one. And I looked at the bottom, and it said Niagara. And it was a completely different water bottle brand with the labels loosely stuck on. I freaked out, so then I went to the hospital to get tested because it was making me sick, and they said we didn't find anything. So I was like, okay. And then I came back to you guys again. And then another time that I came back here, there was the fumes that were making my chest burn. There was a time where it was so bad I passed out. It was suffocating me. I had to, and it was burning my nostrils, and I had to put a wet bandana around my face to be in there, and it made my eyes water. It was like this white cloud of smoke, and it wasn't weed or tobacco. It was like, it smelled like chemicals. And I was like, is there a gas leak? You know, I was saying that as an excuse because I felt like if I said something else, they wouldn't believe me. So I just...
Kind of was something that would be more acceptable, but maybe still getting an answer about it.
Yeah, to know that I'm okay, because I just didn't want anyone in on this at the time. And it got to a point where it made me so sick, I crawled out on all fours, and I grabbed whatever clothes I had, and I just changed outside, and I took a tarp with me, and I started to feel the liquid right next to the building. And I was like, how is this happening outside the building, this piss spray? And so I put the tarp over myself, and I laid on the floor outside the building, and the fumes were still escaping out of the bottom of the roll-up door. It's like a roll-up garage door, and it was making me sick just being next to the building outside. So I called the ambulance again. I called the fire department again, and I said, I think there's a gas leak in my house.
When they got there, what happened?
They got in, the air cleared. They didn't smell anything. They didn't sense anything. They took me to the hospital.
And you saw like the smoke and everything leaving as they were entering it. Okay.
No, it wasn't at that point. I rolled it all the way up at that point, and they by the time they came, it was evening, and it stopped.
Okay.
And so they took me to the hospital. They tested me. They didn't find any meth. They didn't find anything in my system. And I still had those bags with me, and I still felt a little bit sick, and I came to Serenity House, and every time I would touch my things, I would get sick, or I would still feel this weird like miasma. I don't know what you call that. every time I would open my bags, I had an orange box I used to carry around with me here because I was so paranoid from trauma that I would put my tobacco in it. I every time I opened it, it felt like every time my hands touched it, I got this sick feeling in my stomach that I felt from that smoke at the shop. Every time I realized the papers in my tobacco were touching that box, and I was like, is it exposed to something? And so I took all my things downstairs, I washed it all in the washing machine, all the bags, and it felt better. It didn't make me sick anymore. I took the box, I rinsed it out a few times, it made me a little bit sick, and then I got hand sanitizer and I rinsed it out in the laundry room sink, and then it was fine. It was normal. And I was like, this is strange, and then I explained this to one of my friends who used to be a meth addict, and she was like, honey, they're cooking meth in there. And she was explaining to me, you know why on Breaking Bad they wear the suit and they have a whole full body thing? Because the chemicals they're using, if you're exposed to it, you can get really sick. And I was like, I don't know, I was just like, so they're cooking meth under my building. It sounds like that. And she's like, it sounds like they have girls down there too, like prostitution from what you're explaining to me. The consistent sex noises, the multiple, impossible amount of it going on in a certain, and then the fumes burning my chest and my stomach. And she's like, yeah, that's probably drugs or something they're cooking down there. And at this point I was like, afraid to go back. And then I posted about it. So I went on social media and I said, I think they're cooking meth under Lenado machine. Because this and this happened. And
have you ever been able to explore what's underneath the building?
No one would tell me if there's anything down there. I even tried to call city public water works. I asked, is there some sort of utility area down there where someone might fit, or do you know of any pipelines that go through? Because around the same time, the water was smelling like pee too, and I was like, there's something down there. I asked my dad, he's like, there's no basement, there's nothing down there. And I'm like, okay. And it's a really old building, and it's connected to two other buildings, including Firestone, which is an auto shop. This shop used to be a bigger auto shop with a huge backstop, and I don't know much about it. Building next to it used to be a funeral home. It's been there for years, like since the 50s. And he was like, no, there's no basement. And I'm like, okay. And I just kept coming back to Serenity House, back and forth.
What's kind of like the recent revelation that's going on?
So what made me feel really scared is, and what made me come back here, because for a while I was away. I was like, fine. They started to put me on meds, and it didn't help. None of the noises went away. It actually intensified my awareness of it more. I just started to hear it more because it just took away all the... It felt like Adderall. Abilify kind of just... And Risperdal, it just felt like Adderall to me. It just made me just like...
You were more like hyper-aware.
Hyper-aware and more...
Static, so to
just getting executive functions done in a more efficient way, and just less emotion. And...
Abilify technically really wouldn't treat any sort of like auditory anyways. It really would. It's really only meant to treat kind of that executive function or like the depression, etc. So that actually kind of makes sense to some degree in terms of what that specifically
That's
treats.
Good to know.
Yeah. So it probably did take away a layer of what's going on.
It didn't take away any layer of anything. It just kind of added to it. It just made me like become a robot. And then these things were happening, and I was just like, I don't care.
So it took away the emotional element.
Yeah. I was like, I don't care. And then I told my dad, like, yeah, I'm taking medication now. he started to be nice to me all of a sudden and be like, oh, okay, you have schizophrenia, yeah, that's your diagnosis. Make sure you take your medication while these are still going on. And he was just like, he let me work there, and things calmed down after I went to Serenity House. I went to the police and everything about that leak. I told him, I said, there's something going on in your building. There's something leaking down. The water's disgusting. It smells like the same pee that's spraying down on me. I don't know what's going on. I'm not coming back. I can't be in there. And he's like, okay, I understand. Like, maybe it's the plumbing, you know? I'm not here all the time. I don't know. So it's okay if you just want to go back to Serenity House. And so I went back here, and then I came back, and it stopped. The spray stopped. It actually, nothing was raining down on me for a while after that. And things kind of, the noises were still there, the shaking was still there, but the spray stopped. So I was like, okay, you know, I can function. I'm used to this. And my, it started to get a little bit normal at some point. Like, I was just going back to work.
You're still taking the Abilify at this time, correct? Or were you?
Yeah, okay. I was, and it was still vibrating. I was still vibrating everywhere. That was bothering me. I still couldn't sleep because the whole bed would just shake. Like, it was like a giant vibrator. It was like, and couldn't sleep at all, tossing and turning, like, to the point it hurt my organs. Like, my organs were shaking, like it felt like someone was shaking my stomach, and it, like, to the point where, like, nothing could digest, and it was hurting me. It was hurting my organs. And so I broke down again, came back to Serenity House, and at Serenity House I started to hear them.
Also, more recently you've been hearing it here.
Yeah.
Okay. What does that consisted of, and where do you hear it?
Just gay, and in the corners of my room, under my bed.
What is your thinking kind of around that when you're hearing it in your room here? When it's kind of like not been that way before, like, where does your brain go in terms of?
My brain went to, is someone under there? But recently I figured out that's impossible because of how this place is built. Yeah.
It's a funky little building, but
yeah. So it's like really weird. That's why I'm like, I understand if it's not believable. But
have you been hearing it this time around?
Yes, it's been every day since then. It was months ago that it started off again here. Months ago. And then it's like they find a new way to make it more severe. I like even more on top of that. So,
do you feel the shaking while you're here, or is it really just kind of like the sounds that you're hearing?
Only on the bed.
Only on the bed.
Only on the bed.
And do you have one of the, it's like the hard, like, there's no under, essentially, or do you have, for your room, is it one where it still has, like, the under?
No, there's no plastic on it. It's metal.
Okay.
I was in that room a few times, so it was mostly that room. I would just hear it under there, and I would just kind of stomp on him, be like, shut up. And I would look crazy and just be like, whatever. You know, I lose my cool because you can hear it for so long.
Well, it's probably like agitating for you, honestly. I can definitely fathom that.
It is. It's agitating. But I would break down, you know, come here, and it would still follow me. And there were times a few months ago where the water started to smell like pee here. And I even would tell, I think I told Dom once, I was like, can you smell this? Because I
think I remember that being in a report, actually, and I can't remember, what did he end up saying? I can't remember. I remember
like
that
they thought it was the toilet. They thought it was just the nearby toilet because it was the front sink. Yeah, it would this pee smell. It'd stain your hand after. At first, I didn't want to think that. I was like, maybe it's the cigarettes I'm smoking. But then it was like pee, like straight pee. It would taste weird too, and it would be at the kitchen sink as well. And I remember one day when I left here, I wrote on the survey plumbing as an improvement.
We always appreciate that. We always love our little surveys. Our surveys, they do listen to our surveys, by the way. We do get feedback from them.
Yeah.
So,
No, I realized, like, I saw that you guys actually, like, listened to those, because the next time I came back, it was normal.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So, for this time that you're here, have you been hearing anything today?
Yes.
And is it just kind of the same auditory, like...
It's the same thing, except this time around that made me feel unsafe is... I'm sorry, this is such a long fucking story, and we're almost getting to it. We're almost catching up to it. I'm so sorry.
You are good. You don't have to apologize. We're here
I should
for you.
talk through it faster, but I just have never put this in words out loud before, so I just never...
And honestly, that's fine. That's why I'm letting you kind of talk right now, because this is something that I want you to kind of have for yourself. More than anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you explain this, at least that way it minimizes you having to constantly have this conversation.
Yes.
Every single time.
I really want this all in order, so yeah, it would smell like pee, and I'd be like, oh great. Anyways, okay, I'm gonna speed up. Okay, so that would happen here occasionally, and I would just kind of like, whatever, this is better than where I'm living. It's alright. And they're making noise. I can hear them. Sometimes I would hear other clients go, gay? Who said that? I actually heard this older man who stayed here at the same time as me. He said, someone keeps saying gay. And that really pricked my ears up. And I wanted to say something, but I just didn't want to, because I was just so stuck in this place where I didn't want to tell anyone. And I remember, I don't know who in the staff said, oh, maybe you should record it. Can you record it? And that was their response to him, and that's all I heard about that.
That's really weird. We're actually, I'm not sure who would have encouraged that, but technically, we're, aside from obviously in the sense where we are having a conversation, you're not supposed to record at all, like in this space. So actually, I'm really surprised to hear who encouraged
it was like a female voice that told this older man with a walker, and he had old school tattoos.
Interesting.
He had a walker. He was kind of heavier set, and he was white. But he heard it, and then he was like, who keeps saying gay? And I was just like, whoa. When I was staying here once. But anyways, so there was a cycle of this, going back and forth, going back there, and just... but it's slowly, like, it got less unpleasant. Like, they started to smoke less, and they started to kind of take breaks. There were even times where they gave me a break to sleep. It was really weird. Like, they would actually stop until like 6 a.m. and then go on, and I was like, I would still be mad, because I'm like, God, this is 6 a.m., man. But they actually chilled out for a little bit. And it was like, okay, like, whatever. And then, and my dad was like, yeah, just take your meds, everything's gonna go back to normal, and blah, blah. He was like acting fake nice with me and stuff. And I was like, okay, really weird. And then my mom comes in. I do not have a good past with her at all. So whenever she's nice to me now, it feels really disturbing, because all I've known from her is screaming and hitting and just bullying, extreme bullying.
Seems out of character for you.
Yeah. There was a point in the past during this harassment, especially in the time that I didn't work there and I was just going to Serenity House, going to shelter, and I wasn't talking to them, that I thought I heard my dad down there, and I thought I heard my mom down there. Gay.
Beneath the shop?
Yeah, call me gay. And there were weird times where he would show up right away, and like immediately, when he lived like 30 minutes away. And so I was suspecting that they were under there. Because I heard him, I know his voice and I know her voice. And then I thought back to that time in PES that I repressed, where he called the security guard gay. He said gay, and he said, "Did you just call me gay?" And I just didn't want to remember that. Because I took meds, I was I don't know if it doesn't.
PS can be really intense too.
Yeah, it didn't confuse me, but it just made me really distracted from what happened before. So I just kept going on because I was kind of like, okay, like the okie doke. Like, I give up, okay, I'll take your meds and I'm crazy, okay. And I just kind of lost that story. And there was a point where I thought they were under the place too. I heard them down there. And my dad, he started to get skinnier and skinnier. And I noticed he smelled putrid. And he's usually a very clean man. They live in a really nice suburban carpeted house that always smells like Pure One imports, and they have the most expensive detergent and nicest clothes, always gelled hair, and I started to notice he smelled homeless, and he was only wearing all black every day, and he was really skinny, and he was really aggravated, like really like angry easily, and like really sickly looking, and his face had this sheen of like grease on it, and his face was red, and I just felt like really weird. That happened in the past. I'm sorry, I'm getting it all mixed up, but that was around the time I started to come back after the police situation and Serenity and everything. He started to look like that, and it was really weird, and he also stopped showing up to work, like for days on end, which was really uncharacteristic for him, as if he was like hiding or something. He started looking like that when the big meth lab smoke came up. He started to look like that around that time. And I remember this because when the firemen came and got me, they said, do you want to close this door? And I was like, I don't want to go anywhere near there. I can't even breathe over there. He's like, well, someone needs to close this. And I said, my dad will close it. He's down there. They're like, he lives nearby. I'm like, no, he's under the building. And sure enough, someone did come up and close it immediately when he supposedly lives all the way in Gilroy. He showed up immediately in 5 minutes. That was something weird that happened that I need to remember. But anyways, fast forwarding to now. So I'm completely confused. I've been through treatment, even though none of these things have stopped. The spray had stopped at this point. He's starting to be nice to me. And these people are starting to like take breaks and act a little bit differently. And then I don't know what happened recently, but now it started up again. Like the last time, there's a stint where I didn't go to Serenity House because I was like, oh, I'm just depressed, because my meds did give me depression. I stopped my medication because it gave me intense debilitating depression, and I wasn't able to like function at all. Like I was like a vegetable. I was sleeping all day. Even when I was awake, I felt like I could sleep there. I had gotten in a car accident because I was so drowsy. There were times where I couldn't even drive more than 5 minutes before needing to pull over and just sit. I wasn't able to walk. I wasn't even able to walk like maybe more than a few feet like at a time. It was really weird. So I stopped the medication, and everything was fine. After I stopped the medication, I was like, oh look, my body is coming back. It was also, Risperidone was also messing with my hormones because I'm taking testosterone, and it dips it. So it was really messing with my strength and my mental health, because it's the hormones are all mixed up. So
and it probably is a bit more, I will say, with the hormones being factored in, that probably does mean that they're going to have to do a bit more tweaking, essentially, where it's like a lot of adjustments, because the hormones are kind of always going to come into play. And sometimes I feel like that does get unaccounted for.
yeah, it like started to detransition me,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really like bad for me mentally because there are features about me that were
That you were
changing.
noticing and that were changing, yeah.
And I've been up and down with my testosterone before, so I know exactly what symptoms look like when estrogen's too high, testosterone's too high. I know exactly what it looks like and feels like. Because even there's times where if it's not effective, or if I take too much and it starts going the opposite way, I'll start getting my period again. It's really not
like
good.
it's like, yeah, it's very
It's
uncomfortable.
really uncomfortable. But anyways, so I stopped the medication and I was fine. I was like, wow, for the first time, I feel normal again in my body. I can work out. I am getting my strength back. My mood is normal again. I feel exactly like I did 3 years ago. Like,
But what about in
good.
terms of like the other stuff going on? Was that still happening?
Still happening.
Okay.
Still going strong. Still going solid. But I was just like, I think that was when I started to not come to Serenity House for a few weeks. Somewhere in the record, I don't remember. That was probably last month or a month ago.
Last few months, I think. Because, yeah, there was a period of time where you weren't here or anything. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I was, because I was really determined not to come back. I really wanted to make, because I don't know, like I just mentally tricked myself and forgot about all these things that happened before, and I just wanted to.
And it sounds like you've had some variations of normal too. Like you've kind of, again, the whole double you know is better than the double you don't kind of thing. It's like you got used to what you were experiencing, but with the medication, when it was like depressing the mood and causing other physical stuff going on, it was kind of like, oh crap, this is getting to be too much. You were trying to find some sort of balance in everything that was going on, it seems like, and that's understandable.
And so it was like, let me not think about that and just let me see if I can figure this out without worrying about that.
Yeah.
And my meds were fine. Everything was good. Everything was going back to normal. And then I started to notice liquid coming from underneath me now. No, it's not coming down, it's coming up. And it was making me wet. Like it was moistening my clothes, it was moistening my mattress, and it was to the point where I couldn't sleep. It was like every time I slept, it felt like someone was splashing water on me to wake up. And it was grossing me out because the liquid was like greasy and like it smelled weird. And it like got on my face and it was like sticky, and I was like, and they were moaning and having sex, and on time it would just and I was just like, and I could see it in the air come up, and I was just like, what the fuck's happening? And I freaked out. And then this is very recent. This is what made me start coming back again. This period, this block. And it smelled like bodily fluids. And then I got scared, and I was like, if I get an STD from this, I'm gonna be so like upset. Went to the hospital, got tested. I didn't have anything from it, but it just kept going and going. I started to wrap the bottom of my mattress with plastic over and over again, just kept wrapping it, and it kind of stopped. It actually, I would just hear it go right on the plastic underneath. And I was just doing anything I could to get through the night so I can keep working, because I was like, not this again. And I was blocking my food. It was just coming up. I started to cover all the floors in that room, and it would just hit the exercise mat I put on the floor, but come up through the cracks still. And it was hitting me in the crotch, hitting me in the legs, and I would touch my legs, and it was just droplets, wet spots. And I was freaking out again. I went to the hospital, then I went back, and I was like, okay, great. Then the liquid started to feel minty, like mentholy, and it would just like, it would burn and then it would cool, and I got scared because it landed on my penis, and it like burned, and it kept burning, and the spots on my legs that landed kept burning and cooling, and I went to the hospital because I was like, can they check it out or something? Is something wrong? Around the same time when I turned on the tap water, my whole hand, or part of my hand that touched the water, turned completely red. Got little bumps on it. I should have taken a picture of it. I hate myself for not doing that. But there were little bumps and rashes. It started to really burn. It made my fingernails clear, and it hurt the nail beds as if when the liquid got in, it was hurting them. So I went to the hospital and I said, yeah, and I also got.
And what did they say around the burns?
They didn't see any. It didn't leave any marks because they would just fade. The pain would fade, and that was except for my sensitive area.
That is interesting though, because usually with burning, with the actual sensation itself, it typically like physically means that there is kind of like this. I don't know how you explain it. Essentially, a burning of the skin. So it's actually interesting that like they weren't able to like see anything. So I'm curious.
Just
did
a
it feel
little
like
bit of redness.
Just the redness. Okay.
Just the redness from the water, but whatever sprayed didn't leave a mark. But I lied to them again because I didn't want to explain the whole story of where it is, because the water from the tap was burning me in a different way. Like it was more irritating. Let's call it irritating, but it really hurt, and I was like, I just want to go and report this and see if I can get some water contamination or something, like report, because in the past Redwood City had issued out, the police department issued out a report to every business on that block that there is a water pollution problem. So I was like, okay, and I went to the hospital. They didn't believe me. They kind of laughed at me. They're like, I don't want to look at that. Da 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 da. And I was like, you know what? Never mind. You know what? Never mind. I'm still hurting. I put Neosporin on it. It went away. I just slathered it all, and it felt better. And then the day after I went to the hospital to go check for that, I came here, and then I got that room over there on the plastic bed. And I started to feel droplets come up through the mattress.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now it's not just voices that I'm hearing here, because it was only just voices here. But now I'm feeling splattering from underneath.
So do you feel safe here?
I freaked out because I realized, I recognized there were 3 different fluids that would spray at me, because they all had a different sensation. The first one was like a minty, like as if someone like spat mouthwash on me. It felt like that, honestly, like mouthwash. Like some sort of minty. It smelled minty. That was last week I was here. It was spraying up at me. And then but there's a third one that they spray that really, 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 really burns, like really hurts, like really bad, and it doesn't go away. Sometimes it left spots. I have little spots on my legs. I don't know if they're still there, but like little like weird discoloration from it that I don't know where it's from. It really hurt, like really bad.
And you felt that here as well?
Yeah, so that's what made me feel unsafe, because last week it was just from underneath. It was just from underneath in the mattress. It was just this minty thing. Dom probably put in the report, I put foil under the mattress, because I found that foil blocks it better than plastic. It blocks it, and I was able to sleep. I didn't want to tell anyone, didn't want to alarm anyone. I didn't want anyone to think I was creepy or scary or like mentally extremely ill. So I didn't tell anyone, but Dom caught me putting the foil under. He watched me, and I was like, yeah, I just dismissed it. I said it's a schizophrenia thing. I didn't want to explain any of this. Even though in my heart I don't feel like it's a schizophrenia thing, even though I can't explain it. Um, and it was just that mint spray, and then it stopped. It was manageable. They moved me to the 108. I just wrapped it underneath with 2 tarps I got at Dollar Tree. Completely fine. I'm okay. Still came up a little bit, and I would literally sleep like this, just covering my crotch. I even put my rain jacket underneath. I just slept through the night. I made it through that week. Went back, and then it just kept going. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't go through this again in this building. And it was like this last week, this time around, it just was extreme. It was like, plop, 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 plop. And it started to burn like really, really bad. Like it was going through my boot and burning my toes. Like as I stepped on it, just hitting through my boot, through the holes in my boot, and burning my feet. And I felt like sunburn, like just the little spots just burning into my toes, landing on my legs. And I was like, and it was landing on my crotch, and I was really scared. I was always just covering it.
Protecting yourself?
Even in the shower here, I would cover it and just shower like this, because I felt.
Do you feel safe in the showers, or do you feel like there's something?
I feel like I don't know, I feel like it's happening there sometimes. But only certain bathrooms it doesn't.
Okay.
Especially the one they did maintenance on. It didn't happen in there.
Okay.
And the spray, like, so when I stayed here, it was coming up from underneath. It was like non-stop. And you know, when I get angry, I have realizations, and I start looking back, and I'm like, it's you. It's you, my aunt, that went into PBS, have an issue with me. My dad doesn't actually like me. And looking back, I was like, you know what, it makes sense. This person isn't really my blood aunt. She's kind of like his cousin, but she was part of this group of teenagers that my dad hired back in the 2000s when they had a retail store. And they would, weirdly, it was weird, they would go with us on our family trips, me and my sister, and these teenagers, he would take them, these teenagers that worked with him, with us, and he would give them like my bike and stuff. It was weird. And when they grew up, he bought them houses, and I was here sleeping on in this shop. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't realize they hated me so much. And I thought back to my ex, and I was like, you know what? One of those voices sounds like him. It's really weird, and it makes sense. I don't know.
Okay.
It falls into line because when I broke up with him, I posted about it online, and I put out all his dirty laundry about how he's attracted to his cousins, and he's not actually gay. He wanted to be with a woman, and he was with me, who was a man, and I was like, it would make sense if he was under my house calling me gay nonstop to impress a woman. And I don't know, try to torture me to not move on, like, because I posted about it online and I said everything. He was closeted to his family. I had all these realizations, and my parents would do this thing on my birthday with my exes where they would give them a check to leave or do something to me, like just to break up, whenever I would go to the bathroom. And I was thinking about it, and I was like,
When did that start happening? Like in your teens, or also kind of in
my
your 20s?
my adult years. And it just made me think, like, did they pay him to do this? And I had all these realizations last week when I came back home from Serenity last time. I was like, so are they're all involved. They're involved with my ex. They're involved with these distant aunts I don't talk to that have always had some sort of angry thing towards me, some sort of weird hate. Didn't know they were homophobic. I said a lot of nasty things to them when I went home. I was like, I told them how I really felt. You're mad at me. You're jealous of me. When you failed, my dad bought you a house and you flunked that. You lost the house. You made fun of me when you didn't do anything with your life. You made fun of my creativity over all the years. You backhanded me. You watched me on social media, so like really obsessively. Every single story I posted, no matter how late at night, it was really weird. And I realized, like, yeah, these are the people. I saw that Uncle Steven was part of that teenager group. That he's not my real blood uncle. Real teenager, that teenager group. And he always watched me, always made really, like, mean bully comments on my posts. And it was weird. That's why I never wanted to talk to them. I never cared about them. I never watched them. Because they just treated me so bad. And,
That makes sense.
I realized it was this group that was obsessively calling me gay, forcing me to hear them have sex, so I posted about it. I said, these were the people that I found following me a few months ago. These are the same people under my house that have been terrorizing me. And it's like every time I post, they do something worse. I posted about my ex, about what he did, how he's part of it. I've spotted him stalking me like about 3 times in public. Once at a bar, tried to approach me. I never talked to them each time. I always went away. And it just made a lot of weird sense. And then they started to spray that burning liquid, the one that really burns, from the ceiling. And that's when I started to feel it here. I started wearing this because my scalp started burning and it started to thin this area when it didn't before. It just hurt really bad in my room. It hurt really bad. I started to feel the mist come down.
Again, still at the shop in this case.
No, here at Serenity House.
Okay.
Now, this week, I started to feel, after I said that about them online, I started, it's like, I came here and now the spray is coming from my ceiling in 108 or whatever room that is. And it started to burn my scalp like really bad. It still does whenever I go in there. I started to wear a hat and a bandana just to block it, and it still hurts. When I go outside, nothing lands on it. It's just when I'm inside. And it started to land in my food, and when I would eat it, it would make me feel sick, and it burns my tongue. Like my entire tongue feels like all the taste buds are burnt. Because I was like, okay, it's falling in my food, I don't care. God has me. I'm gonna just keep eating it anyways. And now
you're wanting to eat, understandably. You're probably hungry.
Yeah, and now my tongue is completely burnt. And it wasn't hot food, it was cold. Completely cold. And now I just feel scared, like, because it's like a situation where how can someone believe it?
I mean, honestly,
it's not a believable story. How do you come up with an explanation for that? No
it's
one's ever
not
done this
really
before.
my place to say what's real or not real, but what I would say and encourage, obviously here, I'm not able to record, but If it's like in your room and it's like on your body or anything like that, you're able to record in there. If it's in your room, since you're in a single room, like if you feel like you need to record, I say record. Obviously not shared spaces, etc.
No.
When you're at home, I say record, because at the end of the day, you will eventually determine what is and is not your reality.
Yeah.
And that's really going to be up to you and kind of how you're navigating what you're experiencing, what you're seeing, what you're feeling even.
Yeah.
And I think recording is one way to kind of, one, be your first layer of, is this real or not? And then two, if you don't have a person.
It's the thing, the really big key to this is that I've been alone all of this time when this was happening. No one was laying with me in bed to experience it. No one sat directly next to me to have it, to experience it too.
And it's hard, and that's what I'm saying, and not only having the video footage or camera footage, or pictures for your own layer, but also having either a person that you trust, whether it be someone you really know or hell, even like a therapist, whatever it might be, having, and I think that's one reason you have like the recording, because you also will need someone that you can trust to help you reality check. Because at the end of the day, I don't know your family. I don't know what this shop looks like. I don't know what the family dynamics are aside from what you tell me. So I'm going from face value. Obviously, I'm going to suggest trying to create your evidence, or at least having your evidence.
I've tried to record, but this phone is the phone they gave me, and every time I hit record, they stop. They literally just completely stop making noise. And I'm like, where are they now? And then I turn it off and they go back. So I've been trying to look into buying like other other mics that are not connected to a phone, that can't be messed with, or they can't see ahead of time, like an old school recording.
Suggest definitely maybe getting like a different phone if you can, or hell, even actual, like nowadays you can get cheap little, cameras, little digital cameras from the early 2000s,
right.
Remember?
Because those can't be, no one can see what's going on. There's
not really, half the time they're not connected, like not half the time, but you can't get them connected to like internet stuff nowadays, but you can get a simple one that essentially has no connection to any sort of outside data, etc. I would suggest something like that, because again, I can't tell you what is and isn't real.
Yeah.
But I will say, when you're here, the one thing I'm definitely really going to encourage as well is when you are experiencing these things, letting us know. Because kind of like right now, like I want to say, first of all, like, thank you for sharing all of this with me. Because it helps us to better understand what's going on with what's happening to you personally, externally, etc.
I'm recording it because I genuinely feel like my life is in danger, and I want to have a complete, like a complete story of my side of what I've witnessed, in case anything happens to me.
And that's valid.
I always state, I am not suicidal. On the record, I am not suicidal if anything happens to me. If this stuff lands in my food, it already burnt my throat, burnt my tongue. That doesn't happen whenever I eat food. It doesn't happen before. It's weird. And
I mean, if having this as a recording gives you that layer of protection that you feel like you need to have, but again, I understand that.
I didn't make friends until I started coming to Serenity House. I didn't get to tell people until I started coming here. And one of the friends I made here, she started coming to my house and hanging out, and she actually heard them. She was like, "Is that someone moaning?" And I was like, "Yes," and it's way worse when you're not here. So it was like that weird confirmation. It's just like hard for people to like see, because there's no one else there with me. It's always when I'm by myself this happens. And I'm a very lone person, so it's like they're taking advantage of that. And yesterday I slept on the couch downstairs, because not just because of my neighbor, but because it was the spray was coming down, was really hurting me, and it still does.
So when people come in the middle of the night to do the hourly, quarterly room checks, does it disappear when they just pop in? Or?
No, it just still keeps going.
Okay.
It's like the whole room looks like it's.
Does it look like it
misty.
bothers any of the staff members when they come in, or?
No, it's just like, I don't know, cause it's, you have to really like sit under it, and it just lands and it starts to burn. And I don't know, that's why I don't feel safe. And it's like, in case this is, I mean, I don't want to say in case, because I genuinely, actually, honestly think it's real. Don't know how they're pulling it off, but I really feel like it's real. And I want to at least have some sort of thing, because it's like a horror movie. Like, this stuff is just happening over and over again. There was no one there for years to hear it. And it's like, there's no one there to protect me. And even, like, I love the staff here, but it's like almost like there's nothing they really can do about it. It's like these people don't have jobs. They probably might not have a place to live anymore, because all of the relatives that I've realized live down there don't have a home anymore. They're all down there. Or they visit or something.
I mean, in terms
So that's
of like
all they do.
to hear it, because like I said, I don't know what goes on with your home or anything like that. The only thing that I can work with more directly is what's going on here, and that's why.
I don't know if it's speakers or something. I know it's not people, actual people, but it's like speakers or something.
I mean, with the food in particular, I'm curious, like, when you're trying to think of how it could occur, like, how would the food become contaminated?
Just because it just lands on it. It just comes from up there on the ceiling, just mists down.
And how do you think the mist occurs here?
I don't know. I don't know if there's some sort of something above the ceiling underneath that might have been placed there to mist down. I don't know.
Because you're the first person that's brought any concerns with the food, so I'm just kind of curious, like.
No, like there's nothing wrong with the food over there. It's just when I took the plate into my room, that's when I saw it, and then I ate it, and that was that.
Okay, so maybe not eating in the room, just to kind of avoid that scenario, so that way you feel, because we want you to eat, we want you to not feel like you can't eat your food here.
I trust the food here. I know nobody here is messing with it. It's like this weird exterior something, and now my scalp is really burnt and feels sunburnt. Every time I sit in there, it just really hurts. When I go outside, it doesn't feel like that. I don't know how to explain it, and that's why I don't feel safe, because there's no way to even explain it. I just know that these people are in some sort of organized crime that they weren't honest about, and that they have a genuine, pure hate for me that I didn't see coming.
And they know what room you're in, and they know how to access the vents specifically to your room.
Or I don't know if there's no way they're down there. Absolutely not, but I don't know how. I don't know if there's cameras or something, or like something hidden. I don't know.
The only cameras we have are the ones that face that gate and the one that face over there. That's the only cameras we have in their county run. In terms of like the auditory or the sensation, I think the only thing we can support you with here is when these things are happening, just trying to be as transparent as you can. Okay. Because the one thing I'll encourage is that, and it's at the end of the day, it's going to be up to you whether or not you trust us. Because if your trust in us goes away, then us trying to, we call it reality testing, essentially, because, like I said, I don't know what goes on at home. I mean, I can control or even have an idea of this here.
Yeah.
But if you feel like something's happening and you have like this doubt of like, is it occurring? Is it not occurring? If it is, like, to what extent is it occurring? You know, having that trust in us and being able to communicate with us to either enter your room if you feel comfortable with us doing that. If you're like, hey, can you just sit in here with me for 5 minutes? I'm not feeling safe right now. I'm feeling like something is happening to me physically. Can you sit here with me for 5 minutes?
Okay.
We can do that for you. Like, that's perfectly fine. At the end of the day, our goal is that you feel safe here, because we know that you really don't feel safe at your home right now.
No.
And here is the only place where, like, we can protect you and support you and try and keep you safe. How are you feeling about at least that kind of as a start? Whenever these things are happening, you can call our main line if you don't have our number already. You can always call us from your room. There's usually always someone here. So you don't have to necessarily even get out of your bed to come and request support if you feel like you need to do that. But how are you kind of feeling around that?
Feeling slightly reluctant to report every time because it happens so much, and I'm afraid by the time they get there, they'll stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, great, like...
I mean, you can let us know. Like, at the end of the day, you can be like, okay, well, it's disappeared now.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just talking at a level that people aren't used to hearing, and that's why no one can hear them. Because sometimes they're really loud, like at a level where it's almost like they're in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like right when no one notices it.
And that is
Or
interesting.
maybe people talk over it and they just don't expect it.
And that could be it. I mean, like I said, I would like to think, can't always guarantee on every show, I'd like to think that we try our best to report anything that's going on. And this, like I said, there's a reason why we do our rounds. Our rounds isn't just to being in the space. Our rounds are that we take laps around. We check around, we look around the space because for y'all's safety, for our safety. So I'd like to think that we document those things pretty well, and when we do hear things or see things that are kind of out of place, we report those things. I've not heard any reports or anything like that of any concern so far, but, you know, again, do what you're feeling comfortable with in terms of reporting. But if it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, this is getting really intense, can someone come sit with me for 5 minutes and like sit in the chair in the room for a minute?
Okay.
And we can do that.
Because I know that the moment I get to that room and sit down, it's going to happen again.
And if you're not feeling safe in the room at times, like I said, we have people that sleep on the couches all the time. If that's where you feel safest.
That's why I put on a whole hat and I
Mhm.
slept down there downstairs, and it was a little bit better.
Yeah, and if you're feeling safer there, again, we completely understand. The only other thing I will also suggest, aside from the fact of like, you know, one, try to report what's happening when you can, when you feel comfortable in doing so. Again, at the end of the day, that's really up to you. Try to trust us whenever we're providing feedback. When you're like, hey, do you hear this or do you see this?
Yeah.
Try to trust us if you can, because we're objective. We, as that one girl says, I just work here.
Yeah.
You don't want the smoke. Sorry. On TikTok, way too much. Chronically on TikTok. But trusting us and the fact that like we have nothing to gain or lose, we just want to be making sure that you're safe. Like that is our job, literally our job. But I will also say, if you haven't shared with what's been experiencing, and like I said, for this recording, either utilizing it to talk with a psychiatrist or therapist, because I think you're experiencing a long-term thing. Like you're experiencing stuff that has been going on for years and that will potentially continue. And I think you need that more long-term support, obviously. If you're having long-term situations, having long-term support is also needed. But providing them with this information, I think, can get them to be able to better support you. Because we're just a crisis residential. We are a pillow to rest your head on for 10 days. So you can kind of get refreshed and restabilized. A push-off to kind of go back into the community safely. But I would really encourage letting them know all of these things that you feel as comfortable as you can expressing to them. We in this profession, therapists, psychiatrists, we've heard everything. There's nothing you really could say that would shock us. Nothing that you said shocked me. I feel empathy towards you because I know that you're going through it. and that you are really struggling, and there's a lot that's happening, and it's causing a lot of constant crisis for you. And I hate to hear that you are having to experience so much. But really trying to trust your therapist and psychiatrist, making sure you're getting connected with those resources, having that long-term support, because they can, one, figure out a better med situation for you too, just in general, just to figure out if there's other symptoms that could be going on, things that are impacting you, taking account for the hormones as well, because they really do need to be factoring that in. And if they're not, they really need to be advocate for yourself around that as much as you can.
I genuinely don't feel like I need medication though. Like, it's not, I don't feel out of control. I just feel like these things are happening to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's conditional to where I am. I don't know. That's why I want to try going out of the country and just to see what happens.
And you feel like you might be safe. I mean, you at the end of the day get to choose what you want to do. If you choose not to take meds, that's really up to you. I would say if you can even just have a therapist at the least, just because I think you need to have a person that you can share what's going on week to week or every 2 weeks around what's happening. No, you're good.